The 1.3 update really shaked up Mario's diet in Super Mario Maker. While our favorite plumber previously was limited to devouring fire flowers, mushrooms and the occasional feather, his options exploded with 1.3. But not only Mario's diet got more balanced, but we also got tons of new and interesting power-up options to toy around with. But all those new power-up options kind of raise an important question. Which one of all the delicious power-ups is the best one? And more importantly, which one is the absolute worst? So today we're going to finally answer this eternal question, because today we are not only going to put all those power-ups into a YouTube-friendly tier list, but we will also discuss what it is that makes some of those power-ups much more successful than others. We will take a look at a couple of different ideas with those power-ups, and we will even add a new entry onto our dangerous list of evil. So you ready? Let's do this! Okay, so before we start to rank all the different power-ups, we first have to kind of agree what even qualifies as a power-up in the game. So basically everything that we can put onto Mario when tickling him is a power-up, as well as everything that is in the pink power-up tab in the editor, except for coins, because I don't like them and I don't want to. So the shell mats qualify for this list, while the Lakitu Cloud does not. This leaves us with 24 power-ups by my probably faulty counting. Hooray! Second, we're going to rank the power-ups using the only logical way to rate different traveling mushrooms. We'll rate them using glorious and amazing fuzzies. 5 fuzzies being the best score, 1 fuzzy being the worst. Obviously. Awesome, so let's jump right into the power-ups and let's start with the most iconic power-up in all of the Mario series. The mushroom. Okay, so this is going to hurt a bit. The thing is the following. When a mushroom first appeared in Super Mario Bros., it was probably the most brilliantly designed power-up in all of video gaming so far. The mushroom is basically our plumber's health bar, but instead of just being like, I don't know, a heart piece, it also has massive gameplay ramifications. Being Big Boy Mario allows us to break brick blocks and to access secrets and easier paths, but being Mario but in huge also has the drawback that it becomes harder to dodge enemies. It's not only a health system, but also a reward system and a risk system, and a system that acts as a key to locked secrets. The original mushroom is so brilliantly designed, which is why this is going to hurt so much. 2 fuzzies. So the thing is, we aren't rating the brilliance of a power-up back in its day today. We're looking at the usefulness of delicious upgrades in Super Mario Maker 2, and in this context, there sadly isn't that much interesting and unique we can do with it. I'm really sorry, mushroom, but there is much room for improvement. Moving on, let's talk about the 3 traditional air movement power-ups, the Propeller Suit, the Cape Feather and the Tanuki Leaf. So all 3 of those power-ups have a similar job. They all add some sort of additional in-air control to our brave plumber. But at least in my humble opinion, one of them really succeeds, while one of them is a bit of a failure. So let's start with the Tanuki Leaf. So that is probably going to be as controversial as power-up ranking videos go, which is to say very, but I really don't like the Tanuki Leaf power-up very much. The best way to show why is to compare it with a power-up that does the very same thing, just better, the Cape Feather. So both of those power-ups add a horizontal attack move to Mario's moveset. So if Mario dresses up like a proud-looking Tanuki, he's able to spin with his tail. If he cosplays as a majestic-looking cape-wearing royal plumber, however, well, then he's able to defeat all of Bowser's dangerous foes by spinning his stylish cape around. It is easily predictable when the actual damage frame happens, and the damage state is active for quite a while. Let's contrast this with the Tanuki Leaf attack. So when attacking with the Tanuki Leaf, I honestly often struggle to predict which frame is the one where Mario's tail deals damage. So here we have a couple of different Piranha enemy test thingies. If we start to run at this tile and press the attack button at this one, how many of the Piranha plants does Mario kill before taking damage? I honestly have to test this because I'm not able to intuitively answer for how long the tail attack lasts. It's free, by the way. Mario is able to defeat 3 plants in a row, but not all 4. The thing is, when using the Cape Feather, I intuitively know that we will be able to defeat all 4, which brings us to the second reason why I believe that Mario's tail attack is vastly inferior to the Cape Spin. The Cape Spin can be kept on indefinitely, but the Acorn Tail has a couple of vulnerability frames every couple of attacks. That's a super small thing, but it makes the Cape Feather spin attack feel so much more powerful. It feels so different running through a stage, knowing that we're able to throw Mario into an unstoppable cape rage of destruction, pain and misery with the single press of a lonely button, while the tail attack feels like you know, Like as if we just dressed up as a tanuki? The same problem is true for the in-air movement. Flying with the cape feather feels powerful yet difficult to control. Landing with the cape feather is a funny move where Mario causes a massive earthquake by landing with his head in the ground. The tanuki leaf flight is much easier to control, but doesn't feel as powerful for the same reason. Landing is just landing, and everything about this power-up is just less exciting. Therefore, let's rate the tanuki leaf with 2 fuzzies. It's by no means a useless power-up, but it just sadly never reaches the potential that the cape feather reaches. Speaking of the cape feather, 4 fuzzies. Great job and well done, cape feather. You're everything the tanuki suit wishes it could be. As for the propeller suit, 3 fuzzies. The propeller suit is just a fine normal in-air movement power-up. I like how using it is kind of a tactical decision, since we can only propel us upwards once before we have to land again. So when to use the propeller adds a bit of complexity to the time we're in air. But other than that, it's just a fine power-up. Also, I can't help myself, but this over-the-top orange full-body jumpsuit with this propeller thingy on top, it just looks slick. Let's get a couple of less interesting power-ups out of the way next. The 1-up mushroom. 1 single fuzzy. It doesn't do much of anything. The Goomba shoes. 4 fuzzies. Goomba shoes, you guys are just a really cool and flexible power-up. There is the normal version, the stiletto version, the huge version, the winged version. They're just great. But best of all, the Goomba shoe is one of those power-ups that adds on top of existing power-ups. It just allows us to create over-the-top OP mega Mario Mons. Mario Mons in flying, stomping shoes capable of shooting fireballs while wearing ancient spiked headgear. Speaking of ancient headgear, the 2 different shell mats, that's 5 fuzzies each. The shell mats are just so useful power-ups. They are useful for Metroidvania stages, they are useful for contraption levels, they work amazingly in a normal stage just as a fun power-up, and they open up the possibilities for tons of different shenanigan levels. They're amazing. Next up, the Pea Balloon. So the Pea Balloon does one of the things that I don't like to see in mainline Mario games, but that I love to see in Mario Maker. It completely rewrites Mario's movement. So I usually really dislike it if a game throws the main controls entirely overboard for a power-up level that controls in a completely different way. You know, if I'm playing Mario, I'm usually playing Mario because I want to play Mario, not a weird flying balloon plumber floating whatever thingy game. So in a mainline Mario game, the balloon would very likely annoy me to no end. In Mario Maker, however, it's the complete opposite. The weirder and stranger a power-up, the more different new level types it enables, and the Pea Balloon really opens up cool new possibilities. Because as soon as Mario Because as soon as Mario inhaled a Pea Balloon, he suddenly controls like one of those mini cars in his Odyssey minigame. That just opens up tons of design space. Pea Balloons that are 4 amazing fuzzies for you. Great job, well done. And while we're here, let's quickly take a look at a tiny contraption that actually allows us to build a kart racing minigame using the Pea Balloon. So here a plumber finds himself in the middle of a dangerous kart racing track after inhaling a delicious Pea Balloon. But this racing track is no ordinary racing track, because the walls are built out of sharp and ouching saw blades that try to let the air out of our fantastic bloated plumber. So Mario's only chance of survival here is to float through the course for exactly 3 laps, because after the 3rd lap a hidden contraption is triggered and the exit suddenly opens up. Hooray! So how did we set up the 3-lap counter? Well, that's actually surprisingly simple. We use 2 sets of side waveforms. Whenever Mario comes close to the stone-faced stone, it gets angry and triggers this on-off block. This not only flips the state of the 2-state blocks, but also changes the direction this conveyor belt moves to. Because of this, the form is now blocked by the blaster and unable to hit the 2-state block again. So here's the catch. We simply use 2 of those contraptions. One to set the on-off block and one shortly after to reset it. And this together with this simple counting mechanism is all that we need for this little lap system. And suddenly we don't play Mario anymore, but a racing game. Awesome. So back to the power-ups. Let's switch game style for now and let's rate the masks introduced in 3.0 to the 3D World game style. So I'm a bit conflicted about those, because to a certain degree I love them and to a certain degree I hate them. So let's start with why I hate them first. I hate, like really hate, that those items are 3D World exclusive. Especially the Goomba Mask and the red power block would have been so unbelievably useful to have outside of 3D World that it pains my mushroom-shaped soul just to think about it. For this reason, and because we're running a bit low on fuzzies, and I forgot to order new ones in time, anyway, so for this reason we're reducing the score of each of those power-ups by 1 fuzzy. So let's start with the Goomba Mask. That's 4 fuzzies. The Goomba Mask is such an amazing power-up for several reasons. So first, it makes all enemies non-hostile towards Mario, which is such a unique mechanic and has so so much potential for all kinds of different stages, especially puzzle levels. Forms suddenly forget to crush us, Goombas forget to chase us, and even Bowser. Bowser? Buddy? That's what you're doing when you're not chasing Mario? Anyway, the second and even more important thing about the Goomba Mask, it gives us a new toy that we can test for. It's super easy to build a Don't Lose Your Goomba Mask level, or a stage where jumping is only allowed when we wear a Goomba Mask, or a stage where certain areas are only accessible with the mask. That's so cool, and that's the main reason why I'm so annoyed that the masks are not in the other game styles. As for the other masks, that's 3 fuzzies for the Bullet Bill mask and another 3 fuzzies for the Propeller Box. Both are cool additions to the game. The Bullet Bill power-up is especially awesome since it opens up tons of new possibilities, similar to the P-Balloon. As for my least favorite mask out of the 5, the Cannon mask. That's just 2 fuzzies. It's a cannon? And it shoots, it's fine. Once again, a real pity that this box isn't available in the other game styles, especially since like I'm probably the only one bothered by this, but why is the only game style that gets the cannon mask the game style that doesn't feature cannons? Finally, we have to talk about the Pow Block mask. But first, let's add a new entry to our dangerous list of evil. Let's take a look at Don't Touch the Ceiling stages. Oh, before I forget, Bowser finally decided to upgrade the dangerous list of evil. You know, the old analog design was getting really clunky, so he thought that it was finally time to buy a tablet and to digitalize the list. It's really super useful. We can now scroll through the list, mark designs as working, and even upgrade them by just pressing a single button. Oh no, it looks like Bowser upgraded the design by accident. Bowser, no, it's not the redo button. Well, Let's take a look at the design while Bowser gives Bowser Jr. a call to help him solve this mess. So here our plumber finds himself in the middle of a small platforming gauntlet. As soon as our plumber enters this area, the stage gracefully offers him a Pow Block mask. And as soon as he puts this stylish headgear onto his head, hitting the ceiling is forbidden. But as it appears, Mario still hasn't learned his lesson yet, because the first thing that our small plumber does is, of course, to hit his head against the ceiling. This sadly transforms the floor into shiny yet deadly coins and drops everyone's favorite jump and runner into his death. Oh no, what a surprise. If Mario takes the warning seriously though and makes it through the section while resisting his strong desire to hit his head against every hard ceiling he's able to find, then no floor doesn't collapse and Mario is one step closer to saving his probably kidnapped crush, who is friend-zoning him for over 30 years now. Hooray! So how do we collapse the floor here once Mario reproduces his addictive behavioral pattern of hitting his head against hard things? Well, it's actually surprisingly simple, like for real. There are hidden on-off switches out of sight. The explosion that the POW causes when hitting the ceiling is just powerful enough to flip the hidden on-off blocks. The flipped on-off signal then is transformed into a P-switch signal by this small signal converter, and thus the floor makes a shiny exit. So that's one of the 2 really cool properties of the Pow Block helmet. The other one being that we're only able to use it for exactly 3 times. That's a really cool and unique limitation, especially for puzzle stages. That's 4 fuzzies for you, my dearest Pow Block box helmet mask thingy. But keep in mind, you could have gotten another fuzzy if you only were available in all game styles. Okay, so I guess that it is time to finally talk about the dinosaur in the room. Let's talk about Yoshi and his weird counterpart, which I always forget exists, Red Yoshi. That's an easy 4 fuzzies rating. Good dinosaur. Next, the Link power-up. So that's a quick one as well. That's still a perfect 5 fuzzy rating. We probably don't have to spend much time here. The Link power-up just adds so much to the game. Of course, it gets its own 5 amazing fuzzies. Let's talk about the Acorn power-up and about the cat suit next. So the reason we're discussing both of these power-ups at once, even though they don't have much in common at first glance, is because Nintendo did something to those poor 2 power-ups that they do way too often. They changed how those power-ups work in their original game for no reason at all and implemented a straight up worse version into Mario Maker. The Acorn suit first. So that's honestly only a really tiny thing, but it annoys me to no end. In the original New Super Mario Bros. U, it is possible to do a spin jump with the Acorn power-up and then to start to glide out of the spin jump whenever we feel like it. Cool. So in Mario Maker 2, this is just no longer possible. It's just a tiny thing, but I hate this with a burning passion. I'm just so used to doing a spin jump into a glide that I end up murdering Mario within seconds after getting an Acorn Mushroom. Every single time. Why? Like, that is an honest question. Why did Nintendo implement the Acorn Shroom with this weird and unintuitive change? People that never played New Super Mario Bros. U get a power-up that is slightly worse than the power-up in the original game, and people that played tons of New Super Mario Bros. U get a power-up that feels horrible to control. Like, whenever Mario wears his Saturday Night Acorn outfit, I have to play really focused, reminding myself, don't spin jump, don't spin jump, don't spin jump, or I immediately murder my friend Mario. I don't want to murder my friend Mario. The Acorn Mushroom is a power-up I usually really like, but honestly I never enjoyed in Mario Maker because it just feels wrong. Usually the Acorn suit would get its own 3 fuzzies, but because of the silly implementation we're going with 2 fuzzies here. Sorry Acorn suit, I know it's unjust, but you still have double the amount of fuzzies than the cat suit has. As for the cat suit, this little troublemaker got his own little video. For anyone who hasn't seen it yet, there is so much to say about the cat suit that I decided to outsource this part. The link to the video is in the description and at the end of this one. Hooray! So next let's talk about the builder outfit. So that's an interesting one, because it is the first time that I feel like Nintendo overdid it with their obsession to use as little buttons as possible for power-ups. We chatted about this in a previous video, so real quick here. Nintendo's power-up design philosophy is basically to always map all features that the power-up adds to already used buttons. The Fire Flower shot is mapped to running, the propeller updrift to twirling, and the hammer outfit's hammer swing, while the hammer attack is mapped to running. So whenever we want to run as Builder Mario, we first do a hammer attack. And it's weird and annoying, because running is an action we want to do when we want to go fast, but hammering is an unbelievably slow action that makes platforming while wearing the suit really not enjoyable, at least to me. But there is another thing about the hammer suit that is really interesting, and that is the fact that the builder blocks are global ground. Builder blocks are global ground that Mario is able to create at will. That's such a weird but cool mechanic that I haven't found a good use for yet. So what do we do with the hammer suit? Well, let's go with 3 fuzzies here. I don't really like how the builder suit controls, but it's such a unique item that it definitely deserves more than 2 fuzzies for itself. Alright, so next let's do the Fire Flower, the Super Balls and the Boomerang. So the Fire Flower is like the most traditional Super Mario power-up, and I honestly get why. It's fine. So there is this argument that the original Super Mario Bros. Is a brilliant mix between different genres that were popular back in the day when it released. The argument being that at least part of Super Mario Bros. Success can be traced back to cleverly mixing popular genres. So the idea there is that the Fire Flower brings a shoot 'em up element into the game. While there is certainly some truth to this idea of Super Mario Bros. Being a cool genre mesh, I never really thought about the Fire Flower as a shoot 'em up item, or as an item that really shakes up the classic Mario gameplay. Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I actually always thought about this the other way around. If they wanted to add shoot 'em up gameplay, then the logical way for a shooting power-up would have been a power-up that shoots stuff in a straight line, but they decided to implement it in the exact opposite way. They decided that the magical Fire Flower Fire Power power-up Fire Flower Ball does not travel in a straight line but bounces around. That makes actually hitting a target much harder with the Fire Flower. It also makes using the power-up a lot more chaotic and in my opinion more interesting because of it. But anyway, I'm completely losing my point again. That's 3 fuzzies for the Fire Flower. It's a cool upgrade to Mario's moveset, and the fact that the balls have a fire property and are able to ignite stuff makes it extra useful. The Superball power-up next. 3 fuzzies. It's basically the same item as the Fire Flower. Our shots no longer ignite stuff, but now they bounce off of walls. It's just a pity that the item is limited to the original Mario Bros. Style. Awesome. So the Boomerang suit. So there is honestly only one thing worthwhile to chatter about regarding the Boomerang suit. And that is how much fun it is to jump over the returning boomerangs over and over. Maybe that's just me, but whenever I throw a boomerang, I have this almost animalistic instinct to dodge the returning boomerang by every means possible. I murdered Mario more than once because of this. Otherwise, it's a fine item. So I was thinking about giving the boomerang 5 fuzzies just because I enjoy jumping over the returning boomerang so much, and as a joke, but I'm seriously almost out of fuzzies? Like, seriously? So let's go with 3 fuzzies instead here. Awesome, only 4 items left for us to rate, and then we're finally able to settle the eternal question: which power-up is the best one, and which Super Mario Maker 2 power-up is the absolute worst one. Next, let's rate the power-up that I always forget exists. Actually, I almost forgot to include it into this video. The Gigantic Mushroom. So I hope there are no gigantic mushroom fans disappointed by what I'm about to say, but Gigantic Mushroom, that's only 2 fuzzies for you. The thing is, for such an exciting power-up, there's just so little to do with it. I mean, sure, it's cool that it allows us to break heart blocks, and it's really fun to put Gigantic Mario into Stiletto, and then to take all of this and put it into a clown car. It's also the only power-up that allows us to destroy POW blocks when landing on top of them, which is a really unique interaction, and which, by the way, that should actually allow us to create small but really unique don't jump stage. You know what? Now that I come to think about it, let's go with 3 fuzzies. I think I just talked myself into giving the gigantic mushroom 1 more fuzzy. Hooray! Next the star. That is only 1 lonely fuzzy. So let me explain. The thing is, I really don't like power-ups on a timer. It's so much more interesting in my opinion if a power-up goes away because a heroic plumber made some sort of mistake, or a power-up can only be used 3 times and our job is to decide when is the best time to use it. But having a power-up run for exactly 10 seconds or whatever is just, I don't know, it's kinda boring. The second problem I have with the star is, it's that invincibility is just not that interesting to begin with. Being invincible as Mario just doesn't change anything, but that we are invincible. Shooting something with a fire flower at the right moment, that's cool. Wearing an amazingly cool cape that is powerful but difficult to control, I'm all for it. Adding a single powerful upwards draft to Mario's moveset, hooray. But a binary state that says enemies now don't do any harm for 10 seconds is just, I don't know. It's lame. That's not to say that the star can't be cool in Mario games or that the original star in Super Mario Bros. Wasn't a cool and clever power-up. It's just, in the context of Super Mario Maker, the star is just meh. The Super Mario Bros. 2 shroom is next. Holy fuzzy, I love this shroom so much. So the night theme version of it jumps whenever Mario jumps. It is an item that jumps when we jump. That allows for so many don't jump contraptions. As a matter of fact, let's pull out our dangerous list of evil and let's upgrade our don't jump entry. So here's the thing, our don't jump contraptions so far didn't really test for whether Mario pressed the jump button, but they checked whether Mario's height level changed. So that's really cool and it allows us to build don't jump stages, but there were certain limitations. For example, we weren't able to differentiate if Mario climbed a vine or jumped at the place of a vine, or whether Mario jumped himself or if a spring pushed him upwards. If his height changed, the contraption was triggered. With night theme Super Mario Bros. 2 mushrooms, that is not the case. It actually allows us to build, I don't know, like a Koopaling boss fight where Mario has to defeat Bowser's evil minion by jumping off of a spring at the right time, but a real jump destroys the floor. That's so cool. That's an easy 5 fuzzies rating just for the Super Mario Bros. 2 mushroom. Hooray! But that's just a mushroom, because as it turns out, eating the mushroom transforms Mario into Super Mario Bros. 2 Mario, which changes tons of things and, well, is amazing in and of itself. So I was thinking about rewarding the power-up 5 gigantic rainbow fuzzies just to point out how unbelievably cool the mushroom and obviously the Super Mario Bros. 2 Mario are. But there is a problem, gigantic rainbow fuzzies are unique and we just don't have any anymore since we spent them on the spikes. No regrets there, by the way. So since we can't go with 5 gigantic rainbow fuzzies here, let's go with 5 unique, royal, shiny fuzzies for the Super Mario Bros. 2 mushroom. Great job, mushroom. That's well deserved. Which finally brings us to our last power-up of today, the frog suit. So that's a bit unfortunate now. So the thing is the following. I actually planned to give the frog suit 4 fuzzies, but that's just not possible. So why did I want to give the frog suit 4 fuzzies? Well, the frog suit is the only item in the game that gives us free 4-directional movement, and that is really cool. It does so in a very limited way. It only works in the underwater theme and it only works in Super Mario Bros. 3, but it makes it possible to design stages where Mario isn't affected by gravity, but is allowed to move freely into every direction. That's something really interesting. It's unique for the game and it is something that is worth 4 fuzzies in my opinion. Which brings us back to our little mishap. So the problem is we're legitimately out of fuzzies now, like for real. I'd love to give the frog suit 4 fuzzies, but I only have 3 left. I probably should have gone with the 2 fuzzy rating for gigantic mushroom. Anyway, because of this, our final rating for the frog suit are 3 fuzzies and a glorious fuzzy coupon, which can be redeemed for real fuzzy as soon as they're back in stock. Hooray! Alright, so here we have it. All power-ups are nicely rated. All that's left to do for us now is to finally find out which power-up is the absolute best one and which one is the worst. So let's do the best one first. So the only 2 power-ups that, in my opinion, are deserving of the title are the Link and the Super Mario Bros. 2 power-up. So both of them allow for an insane amount of new stages. Both of them basically add a game on top of the game. Both are incredibly cool power-ups. But there is one thing that makes one of those 2 power-ups just a tiny bit better than the other one. One of those 2 power-ups just has something the other one doesn't have. And because of this, the best power-up in the game is, at least in my opinion, The Super Mario Bros. 2 Mushroom. Both items are incredible, but the Super Mario Bros. 2 Mushroom is not only a cool power-up, but its jumping feature in the night theme makes it really useful, even when Mario doesn't devour it, which just gives it a tiny edge over the Link power-up. Hooray! Now let's talk about the worst one. So the nominees are the Star, for being an incredibly uninspiring power-up that is tied to a timer, the 1-Up Mushroom, for not doing anything at all, and the Catsuit for, well, for reasons that we already talked about in too much detail in the last video. And the worst power-up out of those three is not the Catsuit. So I honestly hate how they implemented the Catsuit, but calling it the worst item in the game would be a bit of a stretch and disingenuous, which leaves us with two power-ups, the Star and the 1-Up Mushroom. And the worst one out of those two power-ups is the 1-Up Mushroom. Congratulations, 1-Up Mushroom, you are now officially allowed to call yourself the worst power-up in the game in my opinion. That's the first really interesting thing about you. Hooray! So here we have it, all power-ups nicely sorted into an important tier list. I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you did, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up and maybe you feel especially empowered today and want to hit the subscribe button as well. I hope that all of you have a wonderful day and to see you soon. Goodbye!